Starting your week the right way, coming to the FPL Green Room with me, Gianni, and her, Holly Shand.
Coming up in today's show, we're going to react to all of the action from Game Week 13. I've got my numbers game. Gianni's obviously bringing us the eye test report as always. And it's a big episode because we've got to look ahead to both Game Week 14, a midweek round of games, deadline on Tuesday, before Game Week 15 at the weekend. So lots to discuss.
So much to get through. I love this time of year. When the game weeks come thick and fast, you know you're fully into it. And the good thing is, if you have a bad game week, you're like, oh, the other one's only a couple of days away. Or if you have a good game week, you're like, yeah, I can keep that momentum. So you find the positive in all of it. Or maybe that's just me being me. But yeah, so far, are we in the green room, Holly? Green arrows for you. You captain Mo Salah, didn't you? He got that late penalty against Man City.
Yeah, and I feel like it's rare where you make a load of transfers in FPL and they immediately pay off. But this week, I brought in Saka and Gabriel as part of my 3 free transfers. So those two players on their own got me 27 points. So a massive 80-plus score. Obviously, having Salah, Palmer and Saka in my midfield, all with double-digit hauls. I think in the end, I've ended up captaining the worst one of the 3 with Salah because... I think Palmer and Saka are both going to outscore him eventually. But yeah, I'm into the top 500k for the first time this season. This is the time of year where it's really important to push on. So hopefully I can keep this going. But I always find that the midweek game weeks are horrendous. So fingers crossed it's not too bad. How's your game week been then? Because I was goading you all week of you need to get Salah. You need to get Salah. And you were like, I'm not doing it. I'm doing it next week. And then I saw that you brought him in, but then you didn't give him the armband. I was like, you've done half a job. You've bottled it.
Yeah. By about Wednesday, I changed my mind to going Salah in. It was watching Haaland in the Champions League and City versus Feyenoord to go, no, I need to target Man City. Like, I can't go. Seeing how loose they were, it was brutal for Feyenoord to come back from 3 goals down to draw. So, yeah, Salah came in. I was never going to captain him. It was always Cole Palmer, kind of. And I'm happy with that. Look, a bit like Salah, Palmer got that late goal, didn't he? Palmer's was an absolute worldie. Salah, another penalty, but there we go. Pleased to own him. And look, captaincy for both 14 and 15 are going to be big discussion points today, guys. So stay tuned for that. I'm also in the green room, but very slightly. Like, my rank still starts with 2 ends in million. I think I was at 2.5 and now I'm at 2.2 or something. Yeah, it is what it is, but we're slow and steady. So where are we at, guys? If you fancy hitting those buttons nice and early, we would love that. We're trying to get our YouTube subscribers up. Obviously, this is a podcast, first and foremost. So we're on all the pod platforms. And before YouTube, there we were on Apple and Spotify. Give us a follow, a rate if you're listening. If you're watching, give us a like and a subscribe. Join our mini league, 139793 is the code. You can also message us at fplgreenroom@gmail.com if you fancy. Holly, you were on Sky Sports on Friday, right? And because it was a Friday deadline, it meant it was a Zoom. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we did get a bit pushed for time at the end, but yeah, it was great. I do love doing the Zoom ones because it's just so easy logging in from home, just putting a bit of makeup on and sitting in front of the computer.
Save 6 hours in a car.
Yeah, my daughter was sent home from school on Thursday because she was a bit unwell. So I sent her into school on Friday. I was like, I just needed to get to 11. I do not want to risk live TV with a poorly toddler by my side. So luckily we got through that. But yeah, it was a good show. And I feel like because I was talking up Salah all week, I was pleased that that decision ended up paying off because it was a big conversation, wasn't it? Who to captain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turns out there was loads of good options.
Well, yeah, because Saka obviously delivered big, Palmer big, Salah big, but quite a few, myself included, considered some of the more lowly owned player or the lower price players that also had good fixtures. João Pedro, he was a bit of a, I might go differential captain, Brighton at home, Southampton. Let's go. He blanked. Cunha blanked. And Burmo blanked. Yeah, the 3 of them were getting a bit of traction on Friday. So yeah, go with the premiums if in doubt, right? Shall we kick off going through some of the games, and then that'll be about half the pod. The second half of the pod will be actually looking forward to all of 14, all of 15, because we both got big decisions to make. I think we might be split on captaincy yet again. We'll have that discussion. Let's kick off though, shall we, with some of the games from Sunday. Like we saw Man United winning 2-0, Chelsea 1-0. You got some numbers for us, Holly, and then I'll bounce off you with some eye tests from all the games.
Yeah, so we were expecting a dominant performance from Chelsea against Aston Villa, and that came to fruition. 5 shots for Palmer, 3 on target. No big chances, interestingly. I still haven't seen this worldie that you mentioned. And Nicholas Jackson continues to deliver. He had 3 shots in the box, 1 big chance. And obviously, it's an away game up next for Chelsea to Southampton. But Jackson's, I think he scored in the last 4 on the road. And he's got that double-digit haul against Leicester away a couple of weeks ago. So I feel like that's a prime fixture for him. I imagine you watched all of this game.
Yeah, Guy was off to a friend's house for Sunday lunch, and I was invited. It was at midday. Kickoff was 1:30, and I was like, "Oh, I actually would really like to go because I love seeing her play with her best mate Bud." But I was like, if I go, I'll have to leave after an hour, and that'd be really rude because I was like, I'm not missing the 1:30 games.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, I'm not going to go, and I have to watch the football. And then the 1:30 games were just fantastic because we had the Spurs game and the Man United game at the same time. I only watched Chelsea. I was on live text to the others, and I've seen all the goals. But yeah, Chelsea were good. Jackson was brilliant. His finish for the first goal was superb on the left foot. We know he's on the 4 yellow cards, and there was a bit of talk saying that, I wonder if he'll get that silly yellow card at the end of the game just so he can miss the Southampton game. Because if you want him suspended for a game, you could argue Southampton is a very winnable game without Jackson, and Nkunku comes in because blah blah blah. But actually, no, that didn't happen. And I think you can't rest on your laurels in the Premier League. Away to Southampton could still be a banana skin. So I think Chelsea were right there. Jackson looked good. The problem with the formation that we saw here, which was Caicedo playing right back but inverting, was it's a midfield 2 effective, Caicedo and Lavia, and a back 3, Cucurella as a centre back. But what you then see is Enzo pushing into midfield in the number 10 role. Same role as Palmer. So it's almost 2 number 10s. Now, when we saw that against Leicester last week, we saw Enzo coming up big, goal and assist. Palmer not doing much. It looked like it could have been similar against Aston Villa. Palmer got the assist for Enzo, and then Palmer was on just the assist and then scored that late worldie. But Enzo taking up those positions, I don't think is great for Palmer. He's still a class act. And in the latter stages of a game where it's open, he'll be brilliant. But slightly concerned that Enzo is now playing so well and so well up the pitch. It eats into a little bit of Palmer's space. But I think Palmer's still a great option for Southampton.
Yeah, it's one to monitor, I guess. We also saw the Manchester United 4-0 win against Everton. Xerxes with the 2 big chances. Ahmad had 3 key passes, 2 big chances created. They're both looking like great cheap routes into this Manchester United attack. But have you still got Fernandes then?
I do. My plan was always to sell Bruno this week. I think that might have changed. We'll talk about that later, but I think that might have changed. I mean, he got the 2 assists. He came off. He got a rest. I'm like, Amorim clearly does not play FPL because he subbed Mazraoui and De Ligt before 60 minutes. And he subbed Bruno with 25 minutes to... Bruno does not get subbed with 25 minutes to go when United are leading, historically. He goes like Mo Salah. We've just seen both players subbed on Sunday early because of the festive period. But usually they're the 2 players in the league that you go, when the game stretch, last 10 minutes, Bruno and Salah pick up so many late points. But yeah, Bruno missed out on 25 minutes there. I think he probably would have got another return. But Ahmad, right wing back, he's so advanced because United had the ball. But you look at it and go, you're just winger. You're not much. There's not much back to it. You're just winger because you play with 2 DMs as well. He was the 3rd most advanced man on the pitch for United today, average position wise. He's a great pickup, 4.9.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us are looking at that kind of 8th attacker at the moment and needing a good one. I mean, can we just talk about 8th attackers? Because I had to have Morgan Rogers off my bench for this one because Troll of the Week, Dominic Solanke, turned up for the game, then decided he was ill and got sent home, which is useful to say the least. I still feel like I want a Spurs attacker though. I feel that Solanke's maybe going to stay a little bit longer in my team. You're thinking you want to get rid, aren't you?
I've wanted rid for a very long time, Holly.
Yeah.
I was about to sell him when he got the 16 points versus Villa and I gave him a few more weeks. I said it on last week's pod. That 16-pointer against Villa has done a lot of heavy lifting. Outside of that, his best score is 6. That's poor. When there's a lot of budget forwards in this game, like moving heaven and earth to get FPL points, you only have to look at even, unfashionable picks like Danny Welbeck and Chris Wood and Liam Delap. They're all better than Solanke at the minute. Like, they just are. But look, Solanke's got Bournemouth. The narrative is there. He's not an emergency sell for me. I guess I keep him for that. But after that, I think where I save funds in this team to try and move to, say, double Arsenal attack will be Solanke downgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, I see where you're coming from there. And then obviously we had this massive game, didn't we? Liverpool v City, and it kind of went to the script. Liverpool so attacking. Like, I'm not sure how they only managed to win 2-0 because they were all over City for the entire game. Like, at 1-0, it was like they could have been 5-0 before they'd even scored that first goal. And Salah did miss a sitter, but other than that, another double-digit haul from him is just incredible. And
the assist for the Gakpo goal was so good. Like, Salah in the last season or two really has added maybe 2 or 3 seasons, but the assist threat has just gone through the roof in recent years, which he never carried. Now he really does. It complements his FPL game so well.
Yeah, and Haaland justified sell. Like, I felt like I was watching that game and I didn't even care like what Haaland was doing. I kind of forgot that he was even on the pitch.
You didn't have the fear that you've always had when watching Haaland as a non-owner.
No, it was weird. But yeah, Salah v Haaland, like, finally you're in the club and on that one.
Yeah, justified, just about. It's worth the 4-point hit. I mean, I didn't captain Salah, but see what funny it was. Yeah, I did. Really did just go halfway. But yeah, I mean, look, I'll tell you who was really good early on. Trent. I'm like, I sold Trent last week. Like, he's really advanced again.
How many shots did he have in that game? It was ridiculous.
Exactly. I'm like, Trent is good again. But he's also very expensive. But Liverpool, look, they've just kept a clean sheet versus City. Like, this is the best defense in the league. We have to probably change our viewpoint of Arsenal are the best defense in the league now. Like, last season they were head and shoulders, and this year they'll probably finish top 2 or 3 defense. I don't think they'll finish as the best. I think Liverpool are just different standard at the back under Slot, and they're keeping cleans against Man City and others. They've only lost once this year to Forest, and that was a bit of a freak result. So I like that Liverpool defense. If I'm not going Trent, obviously we can't go Konate as a cheap route. But with Konate out for a while, what is he out for 6 weeks minimum? Like, that's probably 8 games. Joe Gomez feels like he's played his way into this team. He's 4.8.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's a bargain price, isn't he? And he's like so easy to slot in. Like, I've got Rico Lewis still on my bench because I'm not prepared to start him. Like, Gomez could get a ton of points in the next month.
Yeah. So do you need that second Arsenal defender, or do you go, actually, I'll go Joe Gomez? Because yes, Newcastle away isn't the easiest games on Wednesday. Everton away is the derby, sure, and Fulham at home, Spurs away, Leicester at home, West Ham. Like, you're gonna get 50% of his games at clean sheets at the minute if they carry on as they are. So yeah, I think I'll probably end up going to Gomez. Yeah. Oh, Gakpo played on the left and Diaz down the middle. I've seen that a couple of times from Slot now. Like, when Darwin's dropped, you just assume Gakpo will play number 9. He doesn't. And when Jota's not around, Diaz is playing the number 9 role when he won the pen, Diaz. But Gakpo on the left feels like if Gakpo and Diaz both want to be on the left, Gakpo's getting the nod in the big games. It feels like even when Jota's back, it will be Gakpo that's first choice. So again, another one to monitor because he's scoring goals, Gakpo. We saw it against Real Madrid. We saw him having a fantastic Euros on the left. That is his preferred role. And when we're talking budget forwards as like Solanke replacements, 7.1 million Gakpo. He doesn't ever play 90, but that doesn't really matter with the fixtures are there. 2% owned.
Yeah, it's just a shame that there isn't someone consistent at Liverpool to justify going with the double up because Salah is so template now. I think probably looking to a defender is the way to go to gain in the short term. Yeah, it's just annoying that there isn't anyone else to capitalise there. Where do you want to go to next? Shall we discuss Arsenal?
Yeah, Arsenal was a big one. Like, who expected them to concede a couple like that in quick fire fashion? There's loads out there on double, if not triple Arsenal defence,
Yeah, I'm there. I'm on.
You're on 2, aren't you?
But I mean, I can forgive Gabriel because of the haul that he got me, goal and an assist in 45 minutes. I only watched the first half of that game as well. I don't think I missed a lot in the second half.
You missed nothing.
Yeah, 5 big chances for Arsenal, and it was Saka again, wasn't it? 3 shots in the box, 1 big chance, 4 key passes, 2 big chances created. I didn't even mind that Odegaard stole the first penalty off him because he won the penalty, didn't he? And then
You're always
obviously
worried
then
about him
converted the
missing.
second one.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Holly. I thought you were done. Yeah, you're always worried about him missing when you've got an FPL penalty taker, aren't you? You just think the minus points. Obviously, you're excited you got a pen, but if they've won the assist, honestly, if my guy's won the assist, especially if he's a forward and it's the difference between 3 points and 4 points, I like the handing over of the ball so I don't get the -2 for the miss. Like, I'm like, I'll take the assist. Forget the 1 point. I don't want the risk of losing the 2, so I'll take the assist. Maybe with Saka being so good from the spot and it being 5 points is a different scenario. But yeah, I hear you. Do you reckon Odegaard's a pick then? Because if you're going for a second Arsenal attacker, for me, it's still Havertz all day long. But I'm hearing a lot of people saying Mbeumo to Odegaard. Like, not for me, but they're clearly a much better attack with him in the team.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably gone a bit quick on the double Arsenal defence because I haven't got that outlet now.
Yeah.
I mean, Havertz is your boy, isn't he? So
absolutely,
especially with City floundering, that you can't rely on Foden. It's now full on Havertz love, isn't it? And I think was that his first away goal of the season as well.
Yeah, his record away has been poor.
Yeah. What do you reckon then? You've got Man United up next.
Honestly, United, I know they've just won 4-0. The XG in that game was something like 0.76 versus 0.75. Like, it was a level pegging football match. Arsenal are going to ruin United. Mark my word. Saka's a good captaincy option. Like, honestly, if you own Isak or you've had enough of Slanky and you're not got any other fires, Havertz is a great punt. He has played 90 minutes pretty much every game this season. The guy doesn't get subbed. I know we saw Jesus come in and play well against Forest after the international break. And people are always Havertz safe. I tell you what, Havertz has played 90 minutes every single game this season, other than once where he didn't play any. He is Arteta's boy. I like him.
And yours.
And absolutely mine, along with Phil Foden. But it doesn't mean I always own him, but it means I'm always looking. I sold Phil Foden to Bruno a few weeks ago, so I'm absolutely buzzing with that. Yeah. Yeah. If it wasn't for Phil Foden, I wouldn't own Bruno. So I've got a lot to thank him for.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had some really random but big results, didn't we? In the 3 o'clockers on Saturday, we had the Brentford 4-1 win against Leicester with Sharda, the star man of the week. And we had Bournemouth beating Wolves 4-2 away with Cliver getting a hat trick as well. It just seemed to be random points popping in from everywhere. So is Sharda, Cliver, either of them caught your eye?
I don't think so. And Cliver, you're so reliant on pens, but he feels like he's undroppable because he's so good at pens. But he ordinarily is on the fringes of the 11. It's either him or Tavernier that starts, because the front three we know is the number 9 Evanilson, Semenyo, plus one of the others. And there's a lot of players that can play when fit: Sinistera, Atara, Tavernier, Cliver. Like, that's 4 just for one position. But because of pens and he's so good, he didn't even give Evanilson a charity penalty. He took all 3. Evanilson, remember, was on penalties at the start of the season, missed against Chelsea. That's how Cliver got the opportunity to even be on pens. Evanilson won all 3 penalties. But actually, you take away pens from that football match, open play XG, Wolves were the better team,
Really?
and still scored a couple of goals. I do look at it and go, Aït-Nouri, I know he got a lot of love, and rightly, for attacking output, but boy, you're not going to get many clean sheets. And by the way, now Wolves are playing a back 4, and Aït-Nouri isn't as attacking as he once was.
Yeah, you look at his XG and XA the last couple of games, and it's been low, hasn't it?
All coincides with the back 4, which happened a couple of games ago.
Yeah.
He went from a 5 to a 4. Yeah. So, I mean, it was an interesting afternoon. I mean, what did you make of Mbeumo's miss? Oh, I say miss. Mbeumo's missed XG, because the last 3 or 4 game weeks, I think he's had a total of 0.9.
Yeah. I'm looking at Mbeumo, my team at the moment, and I feel like this is the first time where I've really thought, are you a player that I need to move on?
Yeah.
And then...
what's the answer? Do you know it? Are you looking to move on?
I think the only reason why I'm not is that I've only got 1 free transfer this week, and I feel a little bit exposed with only having that 1 free transfer when we're in the most congested part of the season. We've got the yellow cards adding up. I don't want to leave myself short. So
what, you want to roll?
Yeah, it feels like a roll for the midweek. I hate the midweek.
I've got one, and I'm 100% using it, but I don't own Saka, so
yeah.
I mean, I'm selling. My plan was
didn't you?
And I've just taken a hit. I mean, my plan was to sell Bruno to Saka, but I always left the scenario of I could sell Mbermo to Saka.
Right.
I was wanting to watch. I thought Bruno was going to play in the midfield too after Amarim's quotes in the week. And he didn't. He very much played in a front three. Very much. It was Mainu and Agate in the middle. No, I think Casemiro.
Yeah.
Mainu is suspended for the Arsenal game, so you could see Bruno drop back. But whatever. I might even bench Bruno if I keep him because I've got Rodgers with home to Brentford. I actually think I prefer Rodgers home to Brentford than Bruno away at Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal conceding, but I don't know. That's another question. But long and short of it is, I think I'm now selling Mbermo.
For Saka?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I've not got as much choice because I haven't really got anywhere I can go. I mean, I can bench Mbermo this week and
You've got
play
Rodgers, haven't you? I prefer Rodgers than Mbermo in those fixtures because away from home, Brentford are bottom of the league.
And
They've had
Mbermo's
tough
on
away
pens,
games.
though. That's the only... I really don't like benching a player who's on penalties. But then I look at his away form this season, and other than
He was on pens for all those away games.
Yeah, other than the scoring against Spurs, he hasn't done a lot. I've actually just moved Rodgers into my 11 and put Mbermo first sub on my bench. I've also got Chris Wood away at City, and I need to just
score a hat-trick.
readjust how I feel about that fixture in my head.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The big chances City are conceding. Feyenoord are worse than, or probably no better than Forest, and they got 4 big chances at the Etihad. Scored 3 goals.
That's just mental, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't see City conceding 4 big chances. Well, you do now against average teams, you know. So, okay, and Burma, you're not sure, but you'll probably keep him, but you could bench him. He has got a couple of good home fixtures. Like Newcastle at home is a good fixture because Newcastle was so bad against Palace yesterday. But I had Lewis Hall in my team, right? Let's move on to that game. Lewis Hall had a clean sheet wipeout in the 94th minute. I was devastated.
Ouch.
I was devastated. And then I looked at the graphic for the XG plot ahead of my Sunday morning stream where I go through every XG plot. And it was disgraceful how bad Newcastle were. They produced like 0.04 XG in the entire game, and Palace scored an own goal. They had 1 shot, and it was from a set piece. They didn't have a single shot in open play, and Crystal Palace had like 2.4 XG. Like, absolutely, Lewis Hall deserved to concede. So I saw that, and I was like, that makes it easier to digest. Yeah. And Sells was my other player on the 3 o'clock kickoffs that I had on a clean sheet. So I was like, as long as one of them keeps it. I looked at it at 90. They were both on 90 minutes in the game. And I was like, I'm going to lose a clean sheet. Who will it be? Sells or Hall? Fortunately, just one went. But yeah. Nottingham Forest defence, Holly. Again, another clean sheet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit jealous of your Sells pick because he's been solid so far for you, hasn't he? Absolutely solid.
I think only Anana has more FPL points than him.
That's just crazy. I'm sweating on news on Gabriel again this week as well after he was subbed.
Oh, I've got a bit of an update, I think. I just did a bit of research on this.
Go on.
They should have used a concussion sub. He was clearly a bit wobbly when he got up from being punched in the face by Fabianski just before half-time. Arteta's so smart that he knew the half-time whistle was coming, and he went, if we use a concussion sub, even if he's not concussed and he's fine, it rules him out for 7 days. That's the protocol. I think it's 7 days. It rules him out the Man United game.
Yeah.
So he went into half-time, and shock horror, Gabriel didn't come out for the second half. Post-match, Arteta never gives updates on injuries. He bloody gives an update on the injury and goes, it was the same knock that he got in Lisbon, therefore we decided not to take it. Give it an absolute guff. Absolute load of rubbish, Arteta. You just took off a player that you should have taken off with a concussion sub that was clearly concussed, and now you're going to play him illegally against Man United. Mate, I know it's a winning. I know you've got to do what it takes to win, but there's a line that might be being crossed here when a player's health is like the concussion protocol is there for a reason. It's only come in recent years. The Premier League should be hot on that, and probably are fully aware of Arteta's games there, but not much they can do in retrospect, or prove it. But my suspicion is as I just said, and Gabriel, no doubt, will be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he does play. I imagine that he will play, to be fair. I look at who else I've got available, and it's like Rico Lewis and Vandenberg. that have got 0 clean sheet hope. So
Rico Lewis played as the right wing for Man City against Liverpool. I couldn't believe the lineup. I was like, Rico Lewis, who just played left back for England, has played right back most of the season, played centre mid. Oh, now Pep, you're using him in a front three on the right. Like, oh, poor lad.
so versatile.
Yeah. If he gets the start versus Forest, though, we might actually get a clean.
Do you reckon? The thing is, Chris Wood could score in that game, but Forest don't score a lot of goals. I'm pleased that I've got a good bench though, because there's so much that can happen with these midweeks, and that's why I want to roll this week. And then I think come game week 15, I'll have fires to fight, but I'll have 2 frees by that point. So hopefully I'm in a good position.
You'll also see the rotation.
To fight them. Yeah.
If the players aren't rotated on Wednesday, there's a chance some. Now, I think with Morgan Rogers, I'm a bit worried he doesn't start Wednesday, but seeing him get an early sub today, around, 65 minutes, I'm like, okay, he should be good for a start. But then I might be worried about a start the weekend after. He might start midweek, but then not, So, definitely got to worry about some of those, not fringe players. They're in the 11, but they're not first name on the team sheet players.
Yeah. But then we saw early subs for Salah, Palmer, Saka. And I'm imagining they are probably top for kind of captaincy conversation for this week. But where are you thinking of going with your armband for 14? Because it's a tough week, isn't it?
I'm on Palmer. I've been on Palmer in my head for weeks for this fixture, Southampton away. Southampton without Harwood Bellis suspended, Dibbling suspended. One other is suspended, can't remember who. Oh, and Ramsdale's injured.
Yeah, and I should imagine Bednarek's out as well.
So, I mean, Southampton away. But Salah versus Newcastle, the way Newcastle conceded 2.4 XG to Palace and then lost to West Ham at home on Monday night, like a week ago. Salah's a very good captain. I'm 60-40 Palmer, but it's definitely one of those two.
Yeah, I guess the scoreline for Southampton against Brighton was a little too flattering, because Brighton had 22 attempts on goal in that game, the most of any side in the Premier League last weekend. So, yeah, I think for me, I set up my bus team and it was Palmer. So I think it'll take me a lot to deviate from that one. But then we're quickly going to have game week 15 as well.
Oh, God.
Where do we go?
Oh, God.
For that one with the armband. I mean, for me, I think I'll probably go Mo Salah. Be back on Salah
away at Everton.
The Merseyside derby.
My plan was always Salah away at Everton. For those that own Haaland still, both 14 and 15, Forest at home, Palace away, you could give Haaland the armband. I don't own him. Who does Palmer have in 15?
Spurs away.
Oh yeah, of course he does. I mean, it's not a bad game, but yeah, you're probably not gonna go there. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be Salah. Must admit, I like my captain playing at home, and Salah, Haaland, Saka, and Palmer are all away from home. I'm looking at it going like, has anyone got a good home fixture? Like, if you own Ollie Watkins, Aston Villa at home to Southampton, you could go there in 15. Outside of that, though, like the other teams playing at home are West Ham, Spurs who play Chelsea, Leicester, Ipswich, Fulham who play Arsenal. Man United play Forest. I could go Bruno. If I own Bruno,
you're not going to do that.
Bruno. If he's playing front three, though, shame we're not going to get a team league. The early kickoff there is Liverpool. Yeah.
I mean, it is going to be chaos. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think that's where I'll go. And in terms of transfers for 15, like my plan is just to get Saka in place, probably sell Mbeumo, and then I might be looking at either a Solanke downgrade, like Solanke could go from Chelsea. I say downgrade, upgrade, hopefully. And Nico Jackson could come in. He's 7.9. Like, I've got a bit of money there. I'd like Joe Gomez in. He could come in for the Everton fixture. Everton, by the way, I've got Mikolenko have 3 or 4 rotten games from game week 15. They played Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City. 4 games for Everton.
That is terrible. He needs to go.
I know.
But then he's cheap enough to bench, isn't he?
He's 4.3, but I do have Rico Lewis and I do have Greaves, so one of them has to go. And I do think Rico Lewis might be a hold, so I think I will end up selling Mikolenko, but let's see. Yeah, but that run of 4 games is like, whoa, that's bad. What decisions are you looking to make then ahead of 15? If you're rolling this week, who do you see in the best? Everyone stays fit. What do you think you're doing?
I really don't know at this stage. Like I'm still a little bit like I'd like to make moves this week, but obviously I just don't feel like I can do looking at the fixtures. But I feel like my team on paper looks okay for 15. It's that Solanke spot.
Yeah,
But then he's got Southampton away in 17. He's 16, sorry.
The problem
Which
with
game are we
Solanke is,
on?
though, he just doesn't score goals.
He will away at Bournemouth. Like it's going
I'm
to happen.
so mean. I'm
It's
sure
written
he's.
in the stars.
How many's he got this season? Let's have a look.
3.
He's got 4. I'm sorry. He's got 4 and he's 7.5 million. Like, how many's Liam Delap got? More than 4.
Yeah.
You know,
6, 7.
João Pedro's only played 5 games. He's got 4. That's top of my head, by the way. Might not be accurate. Solanke, his conversion it's for a team that produced more XG and more chances, big chances than all the others. You've got to do better, mate. So yeah, I'm
I think it probably. I think you're talking me into it. Solanke out, but I have options where to go. But then to buy Jackson for that same fixture doesn't feel like the greatest.
It's a good fixture for Jackson. That I don't know. He scored a couple at Spurs last year. Chelsea
I don't think I can afford Solanke to Jackson. I think I've only got 0.3 in the bank.
I'll tell you who I can afford. Kai Havertz. And my entry point would be Fulham away. Then, I mean...
João Pedro?
Yeah, I got him.
A lot's going to depend on, like, minutes, I think, this week.
Yeah.
Like, in the week, to reflect on it properly.
You're right. Like, we want to see who's getting the 70-minute subs to go, they're rested. Like, I want to see Havertz get 70. Because if he gets 90, I'm like, oh, does Jesus play against Fulham? Maybe.
But can you trust the early sub? Because it could mean that they're rested for the next game, or it could mean they're just so fatigued that they need the next game off.
I know. Like, do you know what was really nice on Sunday? Seeing Bruno, despite owning him and being gutted, like you just know, he's getting a nice little rest now, nice little 25 minutes. Salah and Bruno never come off early. Well, Saka, same again. Like they are getting a little bit of protection. So I guess it's an indicator to say, yeah, you're ready to start next game most of the time. Yeah, I reckon those players won't be rotated at all through the Christmas period. They'll start every game and then just see a few early subs.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, I can't see Palmer or Saka getting rested.
Yeah, Palmer doesn't need to either because he isn't in the European squad. There is another round,
minutes, does he?
And he's not in the EFL Cup either. The EFL Cup comes around mid December, and Chelsea and City are the only 2 of the big teams that aren't in it still.
So basically, Palmer's a lock. It's just this Jackson yellow card situation as well, isn't it, that keeps lingering in my mind.
What's one game? Like if you miss a game, you have a good first sub. We've both got Rodgers as our 8th attacker, so we're not there with a dibbling anymore, which is part of the attraction of being able to buy a Jackson.
Yeah. So did you manage to go from Dibbling to Salah then this week?
Yeah. I went Dibbling to Salah, and then I went Haaland to João Pedro. Oh, I really wanted to sell Solanke to João Pedro and keep Haaland. I'm glad I didn't, but Solanke's also a waste of space. Shall we move on? Should we move on to our Troll of the Week? Did we say Troll of the Week earlier?
We did.
Who was it?
Solanke.
Oh, yeah. Literally just talking about him. Of course it was. Literally turned up at the ground. Like, don't turn up with your cold, infect everyone. Go home. Ollie, let's do some parenting hacks. Parenting moment of the week. I mean, you mentioned a great parenting moment earlier about how you sent your poorly daughter back to school just so you can have a stress-free Zoom call on Sky. So what was your parenting hack of the week?
Well, we've been sensible and put up our Christmas decorations this weekend. Nice. And Billy chose a pink Christmas tree in B&Q about 6 weeks ago. I think it was when it was the half term, because Rob's go-to day trip is B&Q because it's his favourite shop. And then Bobby's got a white one. So they both had these Christmas trees in their bedrooms, and Billy's obsessed with Hello Kitty at the moment. Bobby's obsessed with Stitch. So I got them some baubles for their tree. But you know, when they decorate the tree and there's like this massive, well, it's not massive, it's a 4-foot tree, but there's like this cluster of baubles all in one place. It was like 8 baubles on about 3 branches all in one place, and then the rest of the tree was just bare. It's just so cute. And then last night, because we got a few Christmas teddies as well, and the Christmas bedding's on, which they were loving.
Sweet.
And it's reversible, so they're choosing which side they want each night. And then Billy had got all her Christmas teddies lined up on the pillow next to her last night, and it was so cute. And then I went back in when she'd fallen asleep, and they were all still rowed up around her.
That's too cute.
She's just too cute. She's just really cute.
Send us a photo of that tree as well. But
Oh yeah, will do. I'll send you all the pictures, and then you can, because I've got pictorial evidence of all of this, and
Oh, good.
hopefully
I want to see the lot. I want to see
producer
the lot.
Mark can edit this all in so that it's looking at its brilliant best.
We had a guy's nursery tree. They sent us a photo from nursery. They were like, the kids have decorated the tree today, and they've literally left them to it completely.
Oh,
No.
this is for the YouTubers.
Oh, nice. It is proper pink. Wow.
Just
Very
look,
cute.
it's just all those baubles just in one place.
Just a cluster
Yeah.
of baubles. Yeah, in perfect eye level of a child. Yeah, and no, the nursery tree, yeah, it's just blank at the top. And then Cam was like, we're decorating our tree, and she's bought loads of new decorations. She doesn't want Gaia getting ruined, and she's like, oh, they're glass or they're crystal, whatever, they're at the top of the tree. Then the bottom of the tree is all the old decorations for Gaia. So our tree is like really nice and classy at the top really old and worn at the bottom.
Love that.
Yeah, quite funny. Holly, love that chat. I mean, we've gone through 14 and 15. Remember, there won't be a pod ahead of game week 15. I think we've covered you, though. We've given our early thoughts of transfers. Genuinely, Kai Havertz could come in for me for Dom Solanke. Joe Gomez is the other one I'm targeting. I think there are two top of my hit list. And I'm definitely bringing in Saka this week. I did a bit of a comparison earlier on Saka, Palmer, Bruno. In terms of the stats, Saka is slightly leading, but all three of them feel like they're really good picks. So I guess my final note to you, Holly, before we round up is just your thoughts on Bruno and Man United in general. Like, they've got a couple of tough games, but they've also got a couple of really good games and then a good run. Do you think you'll move towards a Bruno or an Ahmad or a Xerxes? Like, are you looking at United thinking, where can I squeeze one of them in?
I just feel like it needs a little bit more time. Like that 4-0 against Everton could easily seduce managers. Ahmad's the one that I'm keeping an eye on at the moment. I feel like Fernandes, it depends on the fixture and the availability of other players where he's going to play week to week. And I don't like that.
Yes. Okay, fair. Nice. Guys, on your way out, we would love you to hit some buttons. If you're on podcast, you can just rate us with a comment or follow if you're not already. If you're on YouTube, you can like, you can subscribe, you can comment below. Thank you all so much for your time this Monday morning. We do believe this pod starts you off the right way for your week ahead. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Holly, any final thoughts from you? I'll let you close us out.
Yeah, so 2 game weeks. So we could be in a very different situation the next time you hear from us. Hopefully you're locking in a couple of green arrows, but you know, anything can happen out there. These midweek games can be awful. So fingers crossed you do well and join us back here in the Green Room next Monday morning. I can't believe I'm saying it. We're going to be discussing game week 16. How did we get this far into the season? See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.